Welcome to Straight Pool, the podcast brought to you by the Pro Billiards Tour. We're in Norfolk, Virginia at the International Open 9-Ball Championship. Alongside me is my friend Kim Davenport, and we have a very special guest today, Pat Fleming, a Hall of Famer, legend, Accu-Stats. Everyone knows Pat. Glad to have you today, Pat.
It's good to be here, Reed. Thank you.
Pat, welcome.
Thank you.
And Norfolk has a long, rich history over close to 50 years of pocket billiard play in this city.
Absolutely.
And it's unbelievable, and you've been a great part of that for maybe the whole 50 years.
Well, let's say this. It's probably about 45, 46 years.
Okay.
And I've been a part of it 45, 46
Yeah,
years.
so it was close to 50 years. So,
Yeah.
Pat, let me ask you a question. Why exactly the International Open? This is your,
Well-
am I wrong? Is this the 5th year?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, let me explain. This Norfolk and Chesapeake area has been historic for holding the U.S. Open,
That is correct.
the U.S. Open 9-Ball Championships. And Barry Berman, who started it and grew it,
Mhm.
he passed away.
Yes.
And I took over the U.S. Open as far as managing it.
Yeah.
But his children owned the tournament.
Right.
Okay. And at some point, the kids sold the rights of the name
Right.
to Matchroom, but I already had a contract here.
Right.
So what do? Well, I changed the name to the International because it is international and we have the same customers. I mean, they've been coming for 40 years.
Right.
So it's been changed to the International, and players from all over the world recognize it as the greatest U.S. produced tournament. And we had 128 players, and 80 of them were foreigners.
Right. I think there was 30. I looked. I think there was 34 countries involved, and that's
yeah.
pretty amazing. That's more international players than Augusta National received. So that's a testament to your
Oh yeah.
to your great production here. And Pat,
Yeah.
I just got to tell you, you started Accu-Stats. You had that vision. Was it 84, 83, or 84? What was it?
1983.
In 19, I thought it was. I was talking to somebody about it. So, Pat, there was a time when we were all getting royalty checks, all the top players, and it was great. You'd open up the mail, and there was a check, 800, 900, 1,000. And when you played your best and sold more tapes, you got more money.
Right.
So this went on for years, and then I quit getting a check. And I'd seen you at a tournament somewhere. I said, Pat, no more checks. And then you said, well, Kim, you've got to start winning before you get any checks. So I guess I quit selling tapes, but that was beautiful, Pat. You helped out the
Yeah.
players, you did everything, and you're just an ambassador, maybe the greatest ambassador to pool that we've ever had, and that's the truth.
No doubt.
Well, I'm doing what I love, and everybody knows it's not about the money, or else I wouldn't be doing it. So. But we love what we do, and the Chesapeake area, Norfolk, just loves this tournament, and it'll go on forever.
Yes, it will, and
Yeah.
it's been so. The players of today, can you just elaborate just a little bit? The players of yesterday and the players of today, they just seem like they just don't miss. I mean, I know we play great
the
pool.
quality of play. Well, let me say this. I don't think anybody plays better than the great players of our day.
Beautiful.
But there's 10 times as many of them.
10 times as many. 10 times.
10 times.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's just grown so much internationally that, like this tournament, most of the players are foreigners, and they're spending lots of money coming over here. And if it's not 10 times, it's 5 times.
So there's 50 guys in there that can actually win this international Open.
Yes.
Because that wasn't
there's
that
50
wasn't
guys
with us. That wasn't the time.
that-
There's probably 20 guys with us.
Yeah. Well, there's 50 guys in there
50
that
guys.
could win.
Wow.
Why did you choose alternate the break?
I choose alternate the break for a couple reasons. Number one, there's not many major tournaments in the United States. And if a player practices and trains and trains and trains, and he comes to a tournament and he doesn't get the ability to show his speed because it was winter break and The player might not break and run out, but he'll break and control the table, break, make ball, and then all of a sudden it's 5-0, and you haven't done anything yet. So by giving players alternate break, at least they know they're gonna break the balls at least 5 or 6 times a tournament at the least.
Right.
So that was, and there's another reason. There's more hill matches when it's alternate break. And let's say a player runs 7 racks today. Well, who's going to see it? The people around the table. It's not going to carry on throughout the ballroom that, hey, this guy's running 5 or this guy's running 6. He's going to run his balls and everybody around that table will see it. But if that match went hill, all of a sudden that word spreads and everybody comes to see it. When you're selling product, they don't buy the 11-2. They buy the 11-10.
Right.
So those are the reasons.
Great idea, Pat. Let me say this. You were one heck of a player in your own
At
right.
one time, yeah.
Yes, no, you were one heck of a player yourself. Let me ask you this. Did you ever get an Accu-Stat check?
No,
Really?
I didn't keep track of mine.
So you just threw yours out, huh?
Well, I really avoided being videotaped. I was usually behind the scenes videotaping everybody else. So
Yeah, well, I had
it's
to,
just a handful.
I sort of had to come at you because Kim brought that up.
That was
I kind of
pretty
wanted to
good
know. But let me
question.
ask
Yeah, I
you
like
this, Pat. You have what would be considered no question. Nobody would question this, I don't think. You have the biggest library of pool in the world.
That's true.
Would that be true?
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
And
We were the first ones.
right. Tell us something about what you have and how many. Is there a number that you come up of how many?
Well, we have thousands of matches with commentary, and as of today, part of Accu-Stats, let's say half of Accu-Stats, was sold to Mike Howerton of AZ Billiards. So he now owns the library, the 40-year library, and he puts it on YouTube and he sells DVDs and puts it on various media. So he owns that. What I own is the production of tournaments. And like I say, he's got 40 years, thousands of matches. And I don't mean matches that don't mean anything. These are the best matches of that round were videotaped with commentary, and we've got thousands of them. So every match is a keeper.
Let
It's
me ask you
unbelievable
another
what you
question
have.
too. Yeah. Now, it's my understanding we're doing pay-per-view here.
Yes.
I've seen the TV table set up in there and all that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen too often in pocket billiards. You have pay-per-view set up. I don't think you started it, but you've continued it now for the 5 years.
Well, it's key. We're adding $70,000 to this tournament,
Right.
and it comes from sponsors, ticket sales, pay-per-view.
Right.
So we've got to raise this money because it's in addition to the entry fees.
So now I got another question to ask you. 1977, I seen you in San Francisco,
Yeah.
California, playing at a ballroom in some hotel. I was just a kid.
Yep, I remember.
And I remember watching you, and you had this little silver thing that you put over your shaft.
That you ended up getting.
What
Back
was
when.
that?
You're one of the first ones. It's a counterweight,
The counterweight.
right? And it adds weight to your shaft so that when you're over a ball, it doesn't feel like a feather.
Now, isn't that funny? I don't remember you giving it to me.
Yeah.
But I remember going up and asking you about it. And when we did the Hall of Fame banquet, you remember the 901.
Yes, I remembered it well. I kept the stats on that match.
That is amazing. Pat, it's unbelievable, man. You've
Yeah.
done
We've been
such
around a long
You've done
time.
such a great job for us in the sport of pocket billiards.
No doubt. Well, let me ask you this, Pat. I've seen what goes on behind the scenes a little bit. I see you got a crew back there, man, while this tournament's going on. I mean, tell us how many guys you got back there, how many monitors y'all are working with. Just give us a quick summary of what goes on there.
In the production area, there's probably maybe 10 monitors.
Right.
We've got a half a dozen people having a job doing things, statistics and graphics and switching and internet and things like that. So got a crew there, and then of course on the floor, and then we're producing the event. So we've got about 40 people in this production.
So would you like to say something about your sponsors? Who's sponsoring this event?
Well, naturally, Diamond Billiard Products.
Right.
I mean, they're big.
Yeah.
You got Greg Sullivan, a genius in the sense that he produced a one-piece slate. You know, years ago, what it took to put a dozen tables into a ballroom. You know, you'd have a bunch of guys, three-piece slates. It just took forever. Now they roll in, so they're very supportive of events like ours. Simonis, Aramis, you know, they've been with us forever and been with Barry Berman long ago and other tournaments. They keep the industry alive.
Right.
And we couldn't be more grateful.
Are we still using Masters chalk?
Yes.
It's the greatest chalk.
Yes, it's the only one that I've had.
I mean, so many things have changed. I just didn't know if the chalk might be pink now. I don't know.
Well, what about this, Pat? What is the future of the International Open? Are you gonna? I know you, and you're a great guy and a great promoter. You're looking to keep this going on here in Norfolk. Is that your plans? Just tell us a little bit what you're looking at 5-10 years down the road.
All right. Of course, we want it to grow. We've had a 128 player field with a waiting list. So we'd like it to grow. Maybe more days, maybe a different venue. This hotel's been great to us, but if we outgrow it, that's something we have to consider. So we want to run it forever. And if that works and there's a demand for more tournaments, then we'll be able to do that too.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
At one time in the future, you might have 512 players to deal with.
I mean, it's possible if it grows and we have the space for it. I mean, when Barry Berman had it at the convention center, he had some 300 players, right? So it's there. We just have to have the room for it. And billiards is growing worldwide. And so we want to be part of it.
Well, you are a big part of it, Pat. I will tell you that.
And so, you know, my experience with the Pro Billiards Tour, you know, let me grow also.
Right.
So, I mean, I was involved with the Pro Billiards Tour
You
for
sure
the
was.
longest time.
I remember sitting right in the next seat with you on the board. You know what I mean?
So it's all part of growing up.
Yeah, we're looking
around.
forward to working with you, Pat, the Pro Billiards Tour.
All right. Well, I'm here. This man knows how to get me.
Well, no doubt.
And thank you very much for
Pat.
giving us the space and letting us
Oh,
come
yeah.
into your
Everything,
world.
yeah.
I mean,
It was important to
very
me.
gracious.
Never mind to you. It was important to me for you guys to be here.
Well, let me just say this, people.
Yeah.
This guy is a legend, Pat Fleming. He's a legend in my mind, and never seen him one time do anything out of line. He's always been a gentleman, and I want to be. It's an honor to have you here to be able to interview you, Kim.
Great.
Thanks again, Pat.
All right. Great, guys.
For Kim
Known you a long
Davenport,
time.
Pat Fleming, Reed Pierce, ProBilliardsTour.com. Visit the YouTube channel and subscribe to our Pro Billiards Tour site. Thank you very much, Pat. Great interview, brother.
Thank you.